Hi, everybody. I would like to welcome everybody to us. Say? What did you say, Suzanne?
Oh, I just said hi to everybody.
Oh, hi. I'd like to call this meeting of the August outreach, the special August outreach committee meeting to order. I just had my agenda up and now I don't know where I put it. Hold on a second. Anyway, I think that we're supposed to approve the minutes. We can do that if anybody has anything that they want to bring up while I pull my stuff back up. Any notes to the minutes, or can we approve those?
Let's approve.
Okay, minutes approved. Now we have our beautiful draft of the report to look at.
Yeah, if you all would like, I'd be happy to share my screen and do a quick run through with it.
Would be wonderful.
It's just
gorgeous.
We hope so. The marketing crew did an amazing job as always.
As always, it's beautiful.
I'm gonna shrink my little picture down over here. Okay, can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so as you saw, we've been using the city of Fairfax as our cover branch. We've got a lot of good pictures on there, but same as usual, we start off with a cover graphic of an action shot at one of our facilities. And then, oops, I made that way too big. And then we've got the letters from Fran and myself, and then we really jump into it. So this year we tried to highlight some of the great things that have happened, including moving fine free, the library's participation with COVID test kit distribution, the amazing report from our Virginia Room librarians about the desegregation of public libraries in Northern Virginia, and the unfortunate temporary change in our public hours, as well as some branch events. You likely saw as you read through, instead of 2 pages of statistics and graphics this year, we doubled up and gave you 4 pages because we've had so many interesting things going on that were hard to fit all into 2 pages, and we didn't want to jam them in, so we expanded them a little bit. You have many of the same statistics you've seen in prior years, but updated, of course, related to circulation, ebook utilization, wireless connections, and our partner hours, both from the Friends and from library volunteers. New this year was curbside visits. And you'll see that we also had an increase in program attendance, both in person and virtual, which is something we've been keeping a close eye on. The second set of statistics focuses on another couple of areas we thought would be interesting to highlight, including an update on the library's return on investment calculator. We first assessed our ROI, gosh, maybe 3 or 4 years ago now, and we've been keeping an eye on it just to make sure that we are a continued good value to the community. And as you can see, every dollar that the county puts into our library system returns about $5.25 back to every resident of our county. From there, we move on, and we've used the standard template that we have in prior years with information about our wonderful library staff. This year, you'll also see a photo of many of yourselves from the Foundation Scholarship Awardee event back in May. And then the main framework for this strategic plan, or for this annual report, is around our strategic plan. Although we are working towards updating that, this is still our strategic plan, and we want to make sure that we highlight those areas where we are both meeting our own values and our goals. As I'm sure you read, in Access, we focused on the Library to Go collection, which is an expansion of the curbside process, the elimination of fines, and some of the great programming that's happened at our branches. Innovation honed in on the Traveling While Black exhibit that was hosted at the Sherwood Regional Library, the library board's work around ebook access and funding that eventually made it into the board supervisor's legislative program, and some of the kits that we have started launching this year. Civic engagement talked a bit more about some of the virtual programming series that we offered, including the Women's Suffrage series, the Live from the Pages of History, and look, there's 2 of your smiling faces from the Amor Tolls event and the Read and Feed donations that we collected there. Surprise, I don't know if you knew you were going to be in there, but there you are. Under technology, we talk a bit about some of the programs and services like Canopy and the Connect kits, but really the graphic on the right is the one I think people are going to be the most connected and invested to. The fact that we have hit 15 million total e-loans in September of last year is huge. And reading through the documentation there, you can see how long it took us to ramp up to that. The first couple of years, it was very slow build, but now that we have a very stable and growing collection and a population that knows they want to utilize this collection, we anticipate that those numbers are just going to keep increasing. So the sharp rise in that graph is very likely to continue into future years. For literacy, a big chunk of this is about our year of literacy, which we are now more than halfway through. But of course, we also feature some of the author events, the summer reading program, and did a nice shout out for the ebook of the month program, which has been very popular. The folks at Technical Operations did a great job conceiving of this idea and modifying it. When we first started, we had planned to do both an adult book and a children's book each month, and the children's ones just weren't quite as popular all on their own. So we have opted instead to transition and just offer one title per month, except during the holidays when it is a bevy of cookbooks and crafting books and holiday decorating books. And then, of course, some of you saw a sneak peek of this today. We included the On the Horizon pages. Lorton Library is obviously our largest cornerstone piece of this, and hopefully it will be opening its doors very soon, but also a couple of blurbs about other upcoming renovations at Patrick Henry in Kingstown, a notification that the strategic plan review is coming up, and of course our Library of Things expansion, which we are expecting the next to be in hopefully November, and you all will hear about that at your September and October board meetings. We always include a placeholder in here for our partners, the foundation and the friends groups. So in here, you'll see some additional data about what the foundation has had going on this year, and a big thank you to the Friends of the Reston Regional Library for their incredible life-changing gift of $200,000, as well as to some of the other friends groups for the work that they've done. You may remember from discussions from last year that along the far right side of here, there are more trustees than there are currently on the board. That is okay. We like to include anyone who has been a trustee for any part of the year. So you'll see that we have 2 people on here for Hunter Mill, both Sheila and Parker, to make sure that we honor both of their services. And Keith, I hope you also noticed that we've got it noted that it's the Lee District transitioning to Franconia District. And that's the end.
Beautiful.
So I hope everyone had a chance to read in advance. We are happy to take any edits, comments, recommendations, whatever you all want added, edited, or otherwise modified. We will do it. We just have a smidgy tight time frame around it. So this needs to be included as part of your board packet, which will go out on September 7th. So we'll take anything you've got today, and then after that, you are welcome to email Bobby and Aaron with any edits as soon as you can.
All right.
I thought it was great, so I didn't notice anything, but
Yeah, I thought it was great too. I really do like it. One thing that struck me as I went through it the first time, though, is that the fine free and the change in hours temporarily show up a couple times, not only highlighted, but later on. And that's fine, I guess. I just, the limitation of hours, I would rather downplay, of course, but
Understood.
but there's nothing you can do about that. I too noticed that there were the extra trustees there and figured that's what you had done. I didn't know whether in the past, have you ever like put former in behind the ones who, you know, when there's 2 in a district, so former would be the person who left. And then
Karen, do you
the current
remember?
trustee then becomes, I don't remember that.
We
Sure.
have not, and I've done 3 of the 4
Oh, okay.
existing annual
Yeah.
reports.
Fine.
Since it is supposed to encompass the entire fiscal year,
Mhm.
calling someone former is also a little
Yeah.
odd.
That's true. And they can always go to online and see who their current person is. So
Exactly.
that makes sense.
Exactly.
All right. I just wondered, I couldn't remember.
Hopefully we
Brian-
don't have more districts changing their names. That was hard to fit in.
Yeah, yeah.
Brian,
Thank
would
you.
you like us to see if we can swap out one of the areas where we're highlighting the hours change within the non-featured area at the start?
I don't know. It just struck me, and Fran unfortunately is not here. She's out of country or something. But it just struck me that that was something that we had to highlight because it happened, and we're upfront about it. But when you read it, and we're currently in a cutback on hours for the very same reason. So it's like, hey, we solved this, and we're saying it twice because it was important. And now we're doing it again. It just struck me as something that maybe there would be something better to highlight, but I honestly don't know what. So if Erin and her crew thought it was good to put in there, and that's fine with me. And Sujatha, all the others. I'm just saying it just struck me. Now, I'm not saying that people read this as carefully as
See, I
we
clearly
probably
didn't. I
do.
honestly did
Yeah.
not notice that it was that many times. So I
Yeah,
missed
No, I
it.
don't mean us. I mean the other people who are going to read this go through it very quickly, I'm sure.
What it is the graphics are so beautiful and it's so
Oh
eye-catching.
yeah, I love the graphics.
And I gotta say, I was not reading it to catch edits. I really wasn't. I was reading it to
Oh.
enjoy it. So I should have read it with a closer read, and I didn't.
No, that's
No,
fine.
that is a-okay. So
Yeah, I would not direct any change at all. I think unless you decide amongst yourselves that there's something that could be put in there other than that. I mean, that is something that happened. Again, I want to be upfront about it. That's not a problem. But highlighting things
on the
should be
side
taken.
of missing Fran and her very astute grammar observations, we had a number of additional very minor modifications in here, like commas moving around and kind of shuffling the order of some words, and no change to actual content. But I think we got the spirit of Fran embodied in those edits. I know that she would be very pleased with them.
Cool.
Anyone else have any thoughts or comments or adds or changes you'd like us to put into place? Suzanne?
Jessica, it's fiscal year, not calendar year, right?
Correct.
And the time changes aren't in that fiscal year. The hours changes.
Not the ones we currently have.
Yeah, see, that's the problem is the former ones were, and they were successful. They did what we wanted them to do, and it was timed, 3 months or something like that, and it all worked out great. And it's okay to say that, in my view, but I don't think we need to say that multiple times, because people will start thinking about the current problem, which is this fiscal year.
Good point.
So
We'll see what we can swap in.
yeah, but
I'm sure
again,
you can find
I certainly don't want to not say it, but
I have a quick comment. I really like this. I like that we have the QR codes in here. I did, when I read stuff like this, I'm kind of like Sujatha, where I'm high level, but I do catch little things like, I can't remember where I seen it in here, but it talked about the Reston gift, and it's supposed to say 200,000, but it said something weird.
what?
So
It was missing a zero, so it said
all right,
200,00. Yes, we caught that as well.
So I see little stuff like that also, and then I was also
Oh.
wondering about just consistency. And unfortunately, I'm this type of person where some of us have our middle initial. I never use my middle initial, so I don't know how we started saying Keith L. Fox. I don't even know my middle name now. It just stuff like that just sticks out to me. But overall, I really love this document. I mean, I could read it 3 times and still enjoy it. So
Well, we will strike from the record L period from your name, and then you can enjoy your future readings of it.
Yeah.
We need
I, on the
to,
other hand, usually do use my middle initial, so
to this
but
end,
it's fine.
we use what's on your website contact page as the official, like I copy
Okay.
from there. So if any of you don't like how you appear on your website contact page, let us know so that page can be updated.
I
And then-
noticed it there too, but I don't. People hate that I nitpick stuff like that, but that's when my eyes are drawn.
I know. No, that's it.
Please do not worry about that. So the website content page, your name is pulled from the letter that you receive from your appointing authority. So if the Board of Supervisors wrote you a letter that says, Keith L. Fox, you're amazing.
Yeah.
You should join the library board. We're like, well, that's his name. We're gonna put it in there.
That's how it's
Okay.
gonna be forevermore.
That's it.
You're stuck, Keith.
That's right. I understand.
We will happily make that modification for you, and we'll double check and make sure that that extra 0 is on for the rest and friends. 'Cause I'm pretty sure we caught that, but just double check. Who I can't remember. Suzanne, did you have additional commentary too?
No, I was
Okay.
just concerned about overdoing the last hour's change because it really happened in the next fiscal year.
Got it.
I understand why we're mentioning it here.
Well, we didn't mention it at all.
Oh,
We
I thought-
mentioned the last fiscal year change,
The
the
last
one that we
one,
did
the-
in January.
Oh,
January to
okay.
April one. And if somebody can point out to me where it is the second time, I have been way too
Oh.
up close and personal with this document for too long.
I thought
So
I saw it twice. Wait a minute. Maybe
It
I screwed
is.
up. Oh,
No, it is. It's in, hold
yeah,
on.
it's in X connecting. No, let me see.
I know
There we
that the
go.
time free is in there twice on purpose. We wanted to make a big deal
All
out
right.
of it.
Yes.
We put
I
that in
swear I
the
read it twice.
section.
Maybe I
purpose.
read it in here.
Are we all frantically scrolling through our copies? of the
Probably, yeah. I know I
document?
had temporary
Um,
change in hours on, it's on, wait a minute. Where?
I think we might have mentioned it in one of the letters, either Fran's letter or my letter.
Oh, that may be what
in
I'm thinking
addition
of.
to
Yeah, I
the-
know I read twice, but
Yeah,
oh well.
but my letter or
Unequal
Fran's
access.
letter are another one that can be easily modified to focus on some of the other things that have been going on too.
Mission value.
It is mentioned in your letter, Jessica. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that might be where it was. So you, Aaron, feel free, swap out whatever you'd like to insert in there. Excellent. Yeah, so the usual time frame with these are if you have any additional commentary, either very tiny things that you'd like modified, like grammar and formatting, or larger ticket items as you kind of think about it, if things sit with you a little funny. If you could let us know maybe Tuesday of next week, since Monday is the holiday.
Okay.
And any little things, we'll get those modified and transitioned and put in there. And then your board packet will be going out. It was actually the 8th. It's Thursday, the 8th of next week. So it will be as a draft in your full board packet. And then the plan is at your October board meeting, we will have print copies available for distribution.
And one more comment. Do we ever get feedback on this annual report from people that might be one step outside of the library system? And the reason why I ask that is because I love the infographics, but it usually takes me a second to figure out what we're communicating. And so I wonder if they're as effective as they should be with people who are one step outside of the library.
A great question. Erin, do you have any feedback on that?
So that is an excellent question. And we have a very new team. So a new person who's worked for the library for 3 months did the infographics. And I somewhat agree that they need a little bit of tweaking so that you don't need any background in terms of library background to understand them. We don't get the statistics until some of those we didn't get until like 2 days before we sent this to you all. So it's just a super, super compressed time frame. And I think it's good feedback to maybe show it to some lay people and say, does this make sense? And
Yeah.
I'll show it to my parents. And if they can understand it, then maybe we'll keep it. And if they don't, then
It can be very effective for sure. And I think that's a great suggestion. Like, show it to your parents, see if they can tell you what all of this means. And
Well, do you find, like I myself, probably that's the reason, to tell you the truth, it's probably the reason that I don't read things as close as that, because I am very distracted by stuff like that. So, it's beautiful and I'm looking at it and I'm just enjoying it. And honestly, to be very, very honest with you, I am not really necessarily paying attention to the information. The easiest one for me to read always is a bar graph, like the one with the ebooks is like, okay, that's very clear. Everything else takes a lot more for me, but I find I don't actually care. And maybe that's because I know. So for me, always, my whole entire life, it has always been far easier to understand any information if it's just in text, like reading it without looking at any pictures. And I always figure I am unusual in that way, that most people prefer pictures because, you know, most people prefer pictures. I just never understand them nearly as well as I do when it's all in print. And I know a lot of people really get bored when it's all in print. And that's why we came up with the infographic concept.
I don't know if it's bored or just like I like it because I like summaries. I'm a bullet person. Like you gotta like you got me for 20 seconds and then I'm gone.
Yep.
And so this type of information, I take it in really quickly. And so I understand the two different learning styles.
But the good thing is with the infographics is it really does highlight sort of an emotional interaction with this document. Like it looks like it's fun. It looks like the library is fun. There's clearly information in there. It's not like BS graphics. It's clearly there's information in there. You can see, take a minute and look and you can see. So, you know, with regard to whether, like what the point is of the document, like are really people really trying to actually make, it's not like the supervisors are getting their own information on how to fund the libraries out of this document. This document is for the
I
public.
hope not.
Yeah, right. So exactly. So like the people who actually need to get the real numbers, the real increases, decreases, et cetera, in usage and anything else that's presented in there are getting it through narrative and bullets, right?
Yeah,
So
we want this type of document to be an entry point for people.
Yeah.
That you could quickly look through this and you could pull out what you like. So if you are someone who prefers text, we've got plenty of that along with some great pictures that'll draw you in. And if you're someone who needs very short bursts of information, you can get that from the infographics and then you can follow up from there. For me, infographics have always been like, you're going to pick the one you like anyways. You're not going to read them all. So you're going to pick the one that you're like, oh, that little graphic connects with me, or that's a piece of information I didn't know before. And we all know that people are not going to maintain all this information. And that's why we do both a print and a digital version. So you can go back and look at it later if you want to. I think that the mix this year has been pretty good, and Aaron's new graphics person is wonderful and has done a really nice job kind of getting off the floor and learning about both the library and how to convey that information to people. But she's right, there's definitely some tweaks that could happen in there to make sure that it is fully usable for people who are engaging with infographics.
yeah.
I guess I'm looking at the statistics page, and I see why you've done what you've done, but it's a little confusing that you're comparing one item from FY 2021 and another one from FY 2019. I think that's to make us look in the best light. Do you see what right, page 8 and 9?
So there is a note.
Okay.
FY 2019 was the last normal year. In both FY 20 and FY 21, we were closed. So, you know, some years we were offering very few days of full service. So FY 2019 is the last even remote apples to apples comparison.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of understand that, but it took me a while. I had to look at everything to try and figure out what was going on that.
We can certainly make that note bigger or make sure that it's on both pages.
I think it would help. Which page is that on, Erin?
It's on the first one.
It's on
the
page
first
8.
graphics page?
Correct.
I'm looking for it.
Yeah, it's a little rotating circle up in the top left corner.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We can make that more clear.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it just, again, I'm not a great graphic, you know, I don't always see things in the graphics. So I'm your grandmother here, folks.
I'm actually the grandmother because I just sort of like,
No.
I just looked through it and said, oh, this is good job, guys. Very well done. I'm the grandmother. You guys did good.
Yeah.
We all have the spirit of the grandmother in us, but the edits are appreciated as well. We want to make sure that this is as usable as possible for people and that it's something you're proud of. That, you know, this is a document for this board. So if there are things you want changed, you just got to let us know. We're happy to do it. So we will highlight the note about why parts of it are reflective of a comparison with fiscal year 19 on both of the sets of infographic pages.
Mhm.
Fonts.
And if anyone looks at it and has any suggestions for how to tweak, infographics are hard, and I process like Sujatha processes. So I have to see the text. So if anybody has suggestions, send them my way sooner rather than later, because infographics, like I said, do take time, and we don't get a lot of time to work on these.
Quick turnaround.
You
Yeah.
guys are such a tough audience. Absolutely the grandma of the group, you know, really.
Did we say what Overdrive is for people who don't use Overdrive? Or is there a way to do that in a couple of words?
Or you could say the same thing for Canopy then, if you're gonna.
Right.
I think, yeah.
Should it be ebook checkouts?
Well, there's e-circulation
that?
down there under circulation.
Yeah.
But Overdrive checkouts is a different figure.
Yeah, over the e-loan circulation graphic that you've got includes e-magazines and a couple of other collections, some of which were part of Libby Overdrive, some of which
Libby, yeah.
weren't. But that is definitely something that we can clean up. And Keith, you were correct. I just went and looked back at the blurb about Canopy. We don't explicitly say what it is.
Yeah.
Aaron, if there's space for it, could we add like just a sentence that Canopy is a video streaming service?
It says a free to user streaming service.
Okay, could we just add the word video in there somewhere? Yeah.
Mhm.
Just so it's
Okay.
extra super.
Or just free video streaming, not rather than free to user.
Well, that implies that we don't pay money for it.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh.
and I know our collections development team would like us to be very specific in someone is paying for this and it is part of our budget.
Okay.
Agreed.
Is that going to get renewed next year, Jessica?
I could not say at this point. We are funding it right now, mostly through ARPA dollars that were given to us through the Library of Virginia and partially through the collection development budget. The current grant funding period expires like early October or maybe the very end of September. So I know that our technical operations folks are keeping close track of both usage by individual cardholder and the increase in rate of cardholder registration for it, just to see if we're getting good usage. It's definitely gotten better. At the start, it was pretty quiet when we started back in February, but it's solid at this point. So part of it will be depending on how much usage we get, and part of it will be how much they would require of FCPL if we were to continue paying for it all on our own, because it's not cheap.
I need to watch more movies.
Quickly to your streaming
documentaries,
service.
Yeah.
I saved a whole bunch of them that I was going to watch.
Yeah, I listed a bunch too, but then I don't get around to it because I have Netflix.
I
and all
know,
those
I know.
I did the same thing. And, you know, my husband and I were looking for something to watch this the other. I was like, I really just need to go look on.
Canopy. Yeah, it's got some good stuff.
Interesting and totally
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
I'll give you some
And-
feedback on Reading Feed. It's so successful that last week we had a lady walk into Burke Center and go to the book donation bin and ask where she should put the food that she had.
Aw,
So
that's
the
sweet.
librarians explained to her that it wasn't currently Reading Feed, and so there are other places they later disappeared. So I'm hoping that she took it somewhere else. But boy, you know, people actually are looking for stuff like that. So
We have
wouldn't hurt to have it
very
more
kind
than one.
users. My favorite was when we did it back in November, we had parents who would leave bags of their children's Halloween candy in the donation bins that they just did not want their children to eat.
Yeah.
So, and we couldn't donate those because they were
No.
individual
Yeah.
like pieces of candy.
They ended up in the staff kitchen.
Right.
They went somewhere, but it was not to the donation space.
The
Okay, well,
Lamb
if there-
Center will take that kind of thing.
lovely.
Mhm.
Okay, well, we'll keep that in mind for next go round.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no additional, oh, Phil, I'm sorry, did you have any edits or suggestions for the draft annual report?
No, I think it was well presented. I didn't scrutinize it as much, I think, as everybody else. Like, I got it and I kind of looked through it and I like the numbers and I like the way we present the information. So that's why I
Excellent.
really didn't have a comment.
All good. I just want to make sure we didn't leave you out. Okay, Sujatha, if you'd like, I'd be happy to go through the draft fall 2022 talking points. And as you all may have noticed, I sent around a modified version this morning based on some changing information about the Lorton Library's grand opening timeline. I will share my screen again. There you go, and I will bump up the
Jessica,
size.
before you start, I was a little confused. You just did an update from fall 2021, right? In the header there.
Oh, this is fall 2022. Good catch.
Oh,
That is what I get for using the template from last go round.
Oh,
Yes, I will modify that.
that's fine. I just wanted to be clear that
Keith gets the
Time
Fran
warp.
Melhauser Award.
I'm telling you, it's a lot of information, and I just want to make sure that.
No, you are absolutely correct. I will modify that. I am, of course, it's not going to let me do it right now live, but yes, I will make sure that that has the correct year on it.
I'll
when
give
we
you a
send
good
it around as part
example.
of the board packet.
We're just we're looking at the annual report from last fiscal year, which ended at the end of June, and like
Yes.
going into September. So I'm like trying to figure out where I am standing right now.
Well, and just remember in that report, sometimes we're assessing off of the prior fiscal year, and sometimes we're assessing from fiscal year 19. So just to throw another couple of years
Oh.
into the pot here.
All right.
You're welcome. You're welcome. For that.
It broke
Um,
my brain. It's fine, but my brain is now broken.
everyone is welcome to come on vacation with me immediately following this particular meeting. You'll be able to reset and rejuvenate. I will, okay, I think that's, let me know if that is not big enough. I'd be happy to make the font larger. So the modification was just to the Lorton bullet. It didn't have anything to do with the other ones. And we kept it pretty light this go around as we are continuing to go through both our new hours and getting ready for Lorton. So as you can see, the first one is just a reminder about the new hours that we have in place. And this is also a placeholder to talk to you all and to the rest of the board of the full September meeting about how those new hours are going so far. Back when we changed our hours way earlier in the year, it's part of the current annual report that you just reviewed, we modified it so that we were closed at all locations on Sundays and Mondays. And that was for about a 3-month period, starting from mid-January through FCPS's spring break. And we got a lot of feedback from that was not optimal, that while the effort was there to ensure consistency for user experience and to allow us to pool staff together into the same work week so that they could see each other and collaborate more around projects, that it was really difficult for our users who either needed to get in on a Sunday or a Monday and couldn't, or for our staff who, for some folks, may have worked a Sunday through Thursday schedule and now had to entirely reconfigure their personal lives around those modified hours. So when we looked at our current vacancy rate and we looked at instituting a new hours pattern with the number of vacancies we currently have, we knew that closing specific days was not an option. So instead, this new modified schedule keeps us open all of our normal days. Regionals are open 7 days a week and communities are open 6 days, excluding Sundays. But we have shifted so that every branch has a single shift of staff a day. Our community libraries are not currently open on Monday mornings or Tuesday evenings, and our regional libraries are currently not open, excuse me, on Monday or Tuesday mornings and Wednesday evenings. So it's definitely a change. It's a decrease of 6 hours per week at community libraries and 9 hours per week at regionals. But we have had almost no public feedback. We had a lot at the very beginning when Erin and her crew started publicizing this maybe 6 weeks ago about, people were concerned that this would modify their usage habits. But now that the hours are actually in place for about 2 weeks now, it's been very, very quiet, both on social media, phone calls in to library administration, and in the branch. So we're taking that as a win, that even though people would prefer, obviously, that we're open our normal full slate of hours, that this is a better option to have gone with. And because I know that you all and myself get questions about the indefinite nature of this, we tried to make sure that this particular change in hours was one that we could stick with in the long term if we had to, but also not to tie ourselves down. So when we did the last change in hours earlier this year, we set a specific time frame and we went back when FCPS started spring break. So it was the first full week in April. And we were happy to do that to make sure that we were there for the community and that our staff get back to their normal hours and schedule, but we hadn't actually rectified the issues that made us change our hours in the first place. So it was fine. It was what we needed to do at that moment in time, but nothing had actually been fixed or solved. So with this one, we wanted to make sure that we weren't causing like whiplash for our users and for our staff, that instead of saying like, well, we're going to shift back. Oh no, we're going to change again. Oh, we're going to shift back. Oh, we're going to change again. That we are just leaving these hours in place until we reach a point when we can truly say that we are at a very stable staffing model. And we didn't identify what level of vacancies or how many positions that's going to be, because as you've likely heard me say in the past, it varies. It could be that I come to you at your board meeting in September and say, hey, things are looking great. We've only got 2 branches that are really rough right now. But I could come to you in October, 4 weeks later, and go, well, we had 12 people resign and didn't have any successful recruitment, so it's not so cheery anymore. And because so many of our recent recruitments have had the wonderful byproduct of promotions for our internal staff, we have a lot of shuffling happening, particularly at management level positions. I think Suzanne Levy might be able to attest to this, but our poor city of Fairfax Regional Branch recently lost almost all of their information managers. So it was just our branch manager at that location, and all of her other info manager positions were vacant because people took either promotions or they retired. And that is something that can happen very, very quickly. So all of that is to kind of package the idea that these indefinite change of hours are not meant to be they're not meant to be something that confuses our users, and they're not meant to be something that is purposely evasive. We just want to make sure that when we do go back to normal hours, it's something we can sustain. So I know that was a very long overview of what is a very short set of bullets, but I thought this could be a good moment to utilize these to share information in case you get asked by your appointing authorities or by the public.
I have a question, Jessica. Maybe I'm missing something here. Suzanne, I'm a grandfather, so I have problems too. But what happens on like Wednesday? Well, like Wednesday night, Wednesday, but like what about Thursday? Are we open? Like are the regional branches open Thursday?
Yes, 10 to 6.
Yes.
Right.
So
Like that.
yeah, it's just those evening hours that have changed, and the mornings on some days. So the rest of them are all still the same.
Thank
That
you.
first bullet point, Phil, is what you want to look at.
Yeah, so Phil, for POHIC, you could go to POHIC on a Monday or Tuesday in the afternoon, 1 to 9, and all the other days, Wednesday through Saturday, daytime hours, 10 to 6. Yeah. Suzanne, did you have a question as well on this one?
No, I was just going to say the poor Virginia room had 1 staffer for a couple of weeks.
They sure did. They sure
Because
did. And that one was for good purposes. People were on vacation,
Right.
which they are very well deserved and get to have.
Right.
But that certainly has compounded some of our recruitment challenges. Many of our staff have not taken as much vacation leave throughout the pandemic. And now they have this oodle of leave that they have the right to use. So that is not as much of a consideration point for us in these modified hours. It was really based on the vacancies, but in the short term and on the day-to-day side, it's definitely a compounding factor. Yeah. Your second bullet is all about Wharton, and this is the one that I did modify and resend, and which is posted online for public consumption as well. So while we had previously had a tentative date set for a Lorton opening, that date is no longer at play. So the information that you have here is very generic. And as soon as we have specific dates, I will resend it both to this committee for your talking points and to the full board. We are anticipating right now that the branch is going to open for a soft opening at the very end of September, but we don't have that finalized. That's just kind of a iffy at this point. What a soft opening is for our library system, we are open all of our normal hours. We offer as many of our regular programs as we can, but we use that as kind of a test period to make sure that everything fits the way it's supposed to into a new facility, that there aren't any weird kind of glitches or kinks in the way that processes or flows are supposed to work. So if we get into the building and find that, well, the book drop doesn't work the way it's supposed to, they can use that time because we haven't done this whole huge celebration yet. It won't be as busy. People will naturally find their way into the library, but we won't be, pushing it like crazy to fix those issues as they come up. Our colleagues in the community center and the Learning Community Action Center will be doing the same thing. So we will all be functioning in this kind of soft opening phase until we have a community celebration, which looks like it may happen sometime later, a couple weeks later, maybe mid to late October, also TBD. And of course, everyone will be invited to that. Any questions or concerns about this one? Okay. Our next point is about National Voter Registration Day. We have participated, Aaron, I'm going to get this wrong. I can't remember if it was just last year or if it was last 2 years. Do you remember?
There was a one in real life before I got here. So, and then we went virtual, and
Okay.
now we're going back to real life.
Okay, real life hours and real life services.
Yeah.
So back to Keith's point that all the years have blurred and we don't know where we are anymore. For some amount of years, we have partnered with the League of Women Voters to host Voter Registration Day. We have tabling events at all of our branches set. So people can come into the library, they can register to vote, they can learn more about voting information that's available to them. And I think we did this in person last year as well, because I remember it being pretty successful.
Yeah.
And the hours were kept pretty much the same as well. It's right during the middle of the day. So we'll let you know how it all goes. But if for some reason none of you are registered to vote, you should go do it at your local library. I kind of think you're probably all registered to vote. Just in case, this is an opportunity to do so. And then the last bullet point, this is our 7th annual collaboration around Indie Author Day. And I think it's actually Indie Author Week this go around. We just happen to be doing it on a specific day. This year, we're hosting events at 5 of our larger regional locations, specifically in support of local indie authors. So they will be doing tabling events, author meet and greets, talks about their books. And I think there might be a couple speaking events where authors will be reading from their works as well. We tried to spread those throughout the county. So you can see they cover South County and West County, all the way up to Tysons through to Reston, and as well as in the middle in Pohick. And that is on Saturday, November 5th. Aaron.
Late breaking recent news, TJ has also been added.
Oh, okay.
Late breaking TJ edition. We will add TJ in, as well as correcting the year on this particular document. Happy to have TJ participate as well. I'll cover one more point in the county. Our goal with participating in Indie Author Day is to introduce local independent writers to our community and to help build that engagement around materials that you might not find at your local bookseller, that you would need to do a little bit more digging to find out about these great local folks and their works.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Have all the indie authors already been identified and invited?
No.
Or no?
Still in process.
Okay, good. Because if I have met some indie authors, at different book signings, and they seem like nice people, and they live nearby, near
Yeah.
Loudon and Fauquier and stuff. If I got hold of them, who would I tell them to get in touch with? Erin, if they were interested in perhaps participating in this, or someone else?
You could direct them to the library's Programming and Educational Services Director, which is Renee Edwards.
Renee, okay, got it. That's it.
Yeah, so Renee and her crew are helping to coordinate Indie Author
got
Day.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Last year she had a mighty and 2 years ago, some amount of years ago, she had this very mighty spreadsheet with all the different indie authors that were coming to different locations and their times.
But these people pop up all the time. I mean, they move into our area, out of our area. There's indie authors around. And
absolutely. And people are always writing new great books.
yeah.
And they come into
Okay.
branches and want the library system to buy their books. as
Right.
They
well.
do indeed. They do
Right.
indeed.
They do.
And we like
Okay.
to support them.
Good. Okay, that's good.
Jessica, when will your book be published?
Oh, I am a very, very bad writer, so mine will never be published. Yes, I am good. Poor Erin is often she often gets these like mutilated things that I send her, like, here, this is a good introductory letter to the annual report. And she's like, I will make that better for you. So no, thank you for the kind thoughts, but my skills lie in gardening. That is about it. And baking. Well, I'll take that one too.
And cats and Hannah.
Yeah, that's less of a skill and more of a survival trait, but thank you. Well, we will make those edits and we will send them around to you all.
Okay.
And I think,
That's
oh,
all.
you had one other item on your agenda, Sujatha.
Let's see. Where's my agenda? Okay, let's see what else we had. Foundation scholarships. That's what a wonderful thing.
Oh,
That's always fun.
That's right, and I'm supposed to talk about that. The, you know, I think the fact that we've got the foundation scholarships in the annual report is really going to be helpful. But the scholarship committee would like to be sure that more people know about that. And Erin, maybe in the next news magazine, there could be a reminder to the public about the scholarship program.
In branch out.
Right.
So the fall issue is done and at the printer, so that would not be until the winter issue. Does that?
Yeah, I think the
Just-
winter issue would work. Because I think the deadline, we've talked about changing the deadline to February. That was for the graduate scholarship, but if you could coordinate it with the foundation people to confirm their dates, it would just be nice to get it out to people. And Brian, I'm hoping if we have a Friends Forum meeting, that somebody can talk about that to the Friends Forum, that, you know, their volunteers are entitled to apply for some of these scholarships.
for some of them, yeah.
Right.
The graduate level are generally staff, and of course,
But
professional
I
development
believe
is
we've
staff.
given some graduate ones, maybe to non-staff. Well,
Only
to
if they're going for-
volunteers. There have
Only if
been
they're going
some-
for MLS.
Right. But,
Or
you know,
MLS.
again, on the other hand, we don't want to have 500 applications for this
Yeah.
undergrad scholarships.
Mhm.
But, you know, getting the word out, they want to acquire a more diverse group applying for the scholarship. There's been some concern on the committee that we need to get word out to the communities where $1,000 means a whole lot more to the person than other communities where it's a small drop in their $60,000 a year tuition.
Oof, a lot of college
Okay.
money.
You better start saving now.
She's gonna need lots of scholarships, so we'll come knocking on the foundation. Don't you worry.
Jessica, you know about the 529 plan, so I hope you have one of those set up.
Yes, we do. That's where all of Missy's
But good
holiday and
thing.
birthday money goes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, Sujatha staff will make the modifications requested for both the annual report and the fall 2022 talking points. And if anyone on the board or this committee has any further edits to either of them, just let us know.
Edits immediately.
Yes, please.
It's immediate. Well, I think
Okay.
that's it. There's nothing else to say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. So, meeting adjourned.
Yay.
Hey,
Enjoy
thank
your
you.
vacation, Jessica.
Yeah,
It was
Jessica.
nice